So this is the third video. This is the subtracting tenths. They've worked on adding the tenths and hundredths. Now we switch to subtracting. Subtracting always is a bigger problem than addition. It just seems to be more of a challenge for a lot of students. Again, they have their objective. They know what's expected of them. They'll know how many problems they're going to be solving at the end as practice problems. And again, the reminder about the pentagon. We'll touch on place value each time just to get them comfortable with that. That's going to be important, and they have to focus when they line up the decimal, know with the ones line up with the ones, tens with the tens, tenths with the tenths, and so on. Again, we start in vertical subtraction. Started out nice and easy, no regrouping. Just subtract down, make sure they bring down that decimal. This one also has no regrouping, so they should be good. The one they're asked to work on their own does have regrouping. Adds a little bit of a challenge to it, but it shouldn't be too terrible for most of them. The horizontal problem, again, we can kind of manipulate this one around to show the different ways to line it up. Okay, it's not lined up, it's not lined up. They want to make sure the decimals are nice and lined up, and then subtract them accordingly. We'd model these two problems for them, and here's one for them to work on their own in the pentagon. Placeholder zeros become even more important when we're subtracting. You're going to rewrite it again to make sure the decimals lined up. We have to remind them that in a whole number, if there is no decimal, the decimal actually goes after that because it is in the ones place. So then here's our invisible zero again. So we'd solve like that, and then we would need to regroup and go through the steps. They should be pretty comfortable with that, though. Shouldn't be too terrible. We bring down the screen shade, which has kind of been hiding some of the problems that are already set up with the decimals lined up. They still need to add in that invisible zero because it becomes more important, as I said, in subtraction, because now they're going to need to regroup and go through the steps, but they'll be able to figure that out. That would be 2, 5, 4, and they bring down the decimal point. Okay, so they go through like that. Same with this one. This one's a little tricky because it says tens and ones, and then has this number over here, but it shouldn't be too terrible for them. After that, we're going to go to hidden answers. They always like using this one. In red, it tells them to pause the video. So I'm going to pause the video. We're going to solve each of these problems, and then when they restart the video, they're going to see the magnifying glass help them find the answer. So again, as you scroll across the problem, 9 3/10 minus 0 7/10, okay, the answer shows up here. It doesn't really give them the steps as to how they get the answer, so that would be a question they'd have to ask if they were still unsure how the answer got the following day in class. Again, but as you go through each problem, it's just kind of a fun way to do it, rather than just telling them the answer. Get to reveal it with the magic magnifying glass, which is always fun for them. Then we have the practice problems. Okay, same thing. They're going to try them on their own in their notebook. They're going to bring them in the next day to show that they did watch the video and did practice the problems. And 2 challenge problems and the responder quiz will still be held the next day as a quick way to assess in the morning who understood the concept and who needs to continue practicing.